Hi guys, it's Rob here from Man City Fan TV. So, not long ago, a supercomputer predicted the Premier League table for the 2019-2020 season. So guess what? Turn your tellies off, unsubscribe from Sky and BT, no point watching, supercomputer's got it wrapped up. Okay, maybe it hasn't. But let's have a look at what it predicted to be the league table for the 2019-2020 season. So, no surprises, it's a computer, apparently it's smart. It predicted that Manchester City would, once again, for the third season in a row, be champions of England. Second, Liverpool, probably with another 10-point lead at Christmas, bottling it. Third was Tottenham, then Chelsea. Then, quite surprisingly, Man United in fifth, Arsenal in sixth. So Emery, again for a second season there, not doing much in the climbing of the league. Wolves, a team that I have got great admiration for, in seventh place. Surprisingly, Newcastle United in eighth place. Don't know about that one. Everton in ninth. Leicester in 10th. West Ham in 11th. Watford in 12th. Southampton in 13th. Crystal Palace in 14th. Bournemouth in 15th. The highest of our newly promoted clubs, Aston Villa in 16th. Brighton in 17th, last of the safe spot, squeaky bum time. And then, for some reason, the supercomputer has predicted that Burnley would finish 18th and be the first of our victims of relegations. Then Norwich, a newly promoted team, straight back down. And finally, in 20th position, Sean Bean's team, Sheffield United, for the drop. So, as you can see there, the supercomputer, in my opinion, are rightfully crowning Manchester City champions of the 2019-2020 Premier League season. And look at it there, the trophy in all its majesty with those blue and white ribbons of Manchester City on it. Glorious. But anyway, sod all that. What do supercomputers really know about football? Where's the heart? Where's the emotion? I know who's got a heart and emotion. Manchester City Fan TV. Because we're for the fans. So, I set a little task to Andy and KIAM, and myself, I will be participating in a little while, to, off the cuff, just throw at me what they think their Premier League final table will be. So, we'll take a look first at Andy's. So Andy, because he knows which side his bread is buttered, has gone for Manchester City as champions, Liverpool in second place, Spurs finishing third, Chelsea in fourth, surprisingly again United in fifth, Arsenal in sixth, Everton in seventh, I'm quite fond of that one. Leicester City in eighth. West Ham in ninth. Rounding out the top 10, Wolves, maybe. Crystal Palace in 11th. Watford in 12th. Bournemouth in 13th. Southampton in 14th. Burnley in 15th. Newcastle in 16th. And then Andy's highest rated newly promoted club in squeaky bum territory, Aston Villa in 17th. Norwich in 18th, Sheffield United in 19th, and finally, a Premier League survivor, but maybe not this time, according to Andy, Brighton for the last drop relegation spot. So let's take a look at what our pundit KIAM, our FIFA pro, has to say about the Premier League upcoming 2019-2020 season. Here's his predictions. So, KIAM, quite rightly, has got Manchester City in first spot. Could you imagine him putting him anything else, really? Liverpool in second spot, United in third. It's quite high, KIAM, really. High praise for Man United there. Spurs in fourth, Chelsea in fifth, Arsenal again in sixth place, Everton in seventh, Wolves in eighth, Leicester in ninth, West Ham in 10th, rounding out the top 10 there, Watford in 11th, Newcastle in 12th, Bournemouth in 13th, Crystal Palace in 14th, Burnley in 15th, Southampton in 16th, Aston Villa, KIAM'S again highest of the promoted teams in squeaky bum territory in 17th, Norwich in 18th, straight up, straight down, Brighton in 19th, and Sheffield United in 20th. So looking at those tables, it seems that both Kian and Andy have favoured Norwich and Sheffield United, the two newly promoted teams, to be straight back down again, both just edging it out there with Villa just surviving in 17th spot, and they both have selected Brighton to be the unlucky current Premier League team to join the two newly promoted teams in being relegated. Their top fours also look pretty similar, apart from KIAM, who's put United up in third. Both of them elected for Manchester City again to be champions, so that would be 3 seasons in a row. Not a bad job. So, I also am going to give you, in a couple of minutes, my Premier League final table, what I think it will be. But before that, I'm going to give you a little breakdown of all of the clubs. Talking about players they've signed over the summer, talking about players they've let go over the summer, doing a little bit in-depth analysis into why I think what my final Premier League table will end up looking like, what it does look like. So let's start with Aston Villa. Aston Villa finished 5th in the Championship last season. They were promoted via the playoffs. They've signed Wesley from Club Brugge for 22 million, Tyrone Mings from Bournemouth for 20 million, Matt Targett from Southampton for 15 million, Ezri Konsa from Brentford for 12 million, Bjorn Engels from Stade Reims for 9 million, Trezeguet for 8.75 million, Anwar El Ghazi from Lille for 8 million, Jota from Birmingham City for 4 million, Courtney House from Wolves for 3 million, and they've just got Douglas Luiz from us, Manchester City, for £15 million. Now, Douglas Luiz, you remember, is the player that we signed 2 seasons ago or seasons ago, the defensive midfielder. So that could be an exciting proposition for Aston Villa. So far, that's quite a lot of money spent. That's over £100 million. They're coached by a guy called Dean Smith. And I think Aston Villa could be a surprise package for this coming Premier League season. Now, I'll say this about all of the newly promoted teams. The key to success in surviving your first season in the Premier League is scoring goals. Could be an issue, but hopefully Aston Villa, I'm quite fond of Aston Villa. I've always thought that they're rightfully a Premier League club. So the first 3 fixtures for Aston Villa are a tough one on the opening day away to Tottenham. Then they've got Bournemouth at home. Now, that game I'm going to select as a must-win for Aston Villa if they want any chance of surviving in the Premier League. After that, they've got Everton at home, which will be probably in the first 3 fixtures. I think they'll have cited the Tottenham game as a game that they can deal with losing, because Tottenham are going to be a title challenger this season. Aston Villa against Bournemouth, their second game, I think they'll target that as a must-win 3-point game. Their third game at home to Everton, I think because they're at home, that might help them a lot. I think they might squeeze a point out of that at the most. So the next of the promoted clubs, Norwich City, they won the Division 1, or the Championship as it's called. They're promoted as champions. They've brought in Sam Brain from West Ham for 750,000. Aidan Fitzpatrick from Partick Thistle, 350,000. Daniel Adised from Rochdale, 300,000. Rocky Bashiri from KV Ostend, 100,000. Archie Mayer from Aberdeen, undisclosed, free. Rob Nizet from Anderlecht, also undisclosed. Josip Drmic from Borussia Mönchengladbach to be back on a free. Charlie Gilmore from Arsenal, also on a free. Paddy Roberts, one of our academy graduates, he's on loan for, this will be about Paddy Roberts' 5th loan season now. Let's see what he's like playing for Norwich in the Premier League. Ralph Fairman from Schalke on loan. Reece McClare from Motherwell, another undisclosed fee. Now, Norwich, for me, I've not really been that keen on spending too much money, trying to do it on a budget. I don't fancy their chances of actually staying in the Premier League. I think they may be a straight up, straight down team. I mean, I don't want to talk like that of a newly promoted team right at the start of the season, but I just don't think their ambitions are set high enough for that of a Premier League standard. Now, their 3 opening fixtures are kind of nightmarish almost, because the first game they've got is away to Liverpool. Can't see them getting anything out of that game. Their second game is Newcastle at home. This, again, as I said with Aston Villa, their second game, which is at home against Newcastle, is a critical 3-pointer. This will be sort of the game that you can gauge Norwich's season on, in my opinion. If they can manage to take 3 points from Newcastle at home, then they might do all right. Anything less than 3 points, I think this is just going to be a horrible season for Norwich. After that, again, they're at home against Chelsea. This could be another killer fixture for Norwich so early in the season. The first 3 games, they're looking like a nightmare, potentially not getting a point out of any of their first 3 fixtures. So, on to the third promoted team. Could be a bit of a surprise package. Sheffield United, long time since they were in the Premier League, but they have been here before. They came up second from the Championship. They've signed Lys Musset from Bournemouth for 10 million. Callum Robinson from Preston for 6 million. Luke Freeman, QPR, 5 million. They've got Phil Jagielka from Everton for free. That could be quite a nifty little signing there. I know his legs have probably gone, but he is a steady head and a decent centre-half. Ravel Morrison, another chance for that guy maybe. He came as a free. Ben Osborne from Nottingham Forest. And Dean Henderson, don't know much about that guy, from Manchester United on loan. They're managed by Chris Wilder, a manager I don't know an amazing about, but he's just signed a new 3-year contract, so the club seem quite confident in that guy. So the first 3 games of the season for Sheffield United are Bournemouth away, first game. Again, that'll be one of those games where you can sort of gauge what sort of season Sheffield United are going to have, because as well as trying to have to take points at home, they're going to have to do something on the road as well if they've got any hope of staying in the Premier League. The second game is against Crystal Palace at home. Sheffield United taking 3 points out of these first 3 games, and realistically, if they want any chance of survival, they're going to have to hit the ground running and maybe take points off Bournemouth away. Big ask. Bournemouth are now a well-established Premier League team. They're going to have to really try and put everything in early on in the season against Crystal Palace at home, and then again against Leicester at home. Could be a difficult season for Sheffield United, but I actually see maybe a dark horse here, maybe. So that's the 3 new promoted teams dealt with. What I'm going to do from now on is deal with the clubs in ascending order from the position that they finished in the Premier League season last season. So Brighton, from memory, is the club that finished 17th. So Brighton finished 17th at the end of last season. Let's see whether they've got any plans to improve upon that by having a look at what players they've signed. So they've signed Leonardo Trossard from Genk for 18 million, Matt Clark from Portsmouth for 5 million, Taylor Richards from Manchester City for 2.5 million, Lewis Freestone unattached free. Bruno, their captain for a long time, long-standing player, he's retired. So those possibly will be big shoes to fill. If you remember at the end of last season, they sacked Chris Hughton, who had done a decent job in maintaining their Premier League status. They've replaced Chris Hughton with Graham Potter, the ex-Swansea manager. So all bets are off when it comes to him as a manager in the Premier League. Let's have a look at their opening fixtures. So, Brighton's 3 opening fixtures are as follows. They have got Watford away from home, opening game of the season. Don't think they're going to get any points out of that game. I think Watford are a tidy, well-established Premier League outfit at this point with more ambition than Brighton. Brighton then have got West Ham at home. Again, I think that Manuel Pellegrini will have that West Ham team whipped into shape. No more Arnautovic drama. I think Brighton will struggle, although again, as I'll state for other clubs, this is a home game for Brighton, so if they have any chance of staving off relegation, they have to win this game. After that, they've got a South Coast derby against Southampton. This is the best of the rest almost, really. Southampton, not exactly a great team, but I think they're better than Brighton. Things are not looking bright for Brighton, as it were. I don't think they're going to get a point out their first 3 games, and I think they are going to have a nightmare of a season. Not enough ambition, not enough money spent. These could be for the chop. Southampton finished 16th last season. They've brought in Danny Ings from Liverpool for 20 million, Che Adams from Birmingham City for 15 million, and Moussa Djenepo from Standard Liège for 14 million. Now, Southampton are, as I've said previously, that best of the rest team. They're not a great outfit. They've had most of their best players farmed off them over the years by teams like Liverpool. They don't seem to have reinvested that money, strangely. They have bought Danny Ings, but they'll just scrape another season in the Premier League. Not what Southampton should be doing, really. They seem to have a good, loyal fan base, but this is about their place in the league, towards the bottom. I doubt they'll improve on last season. Maybe up a place, maybe down a place. But I think there are worse teams than Southampton, such as Brighton. So I think they'll just be that bottom end of the league sort of team. Now, their first three fixtures of the season, they're away to Burnley, which could be a crucial three-pointer, even though it's the first game of the season. But Burnley probably now batting above Southampton as a Premier League team. Then they're at home to Liverpool, which I can see them getting crucified in that fixture, personally. And then they're away to Brighton. So for Southampton, really, the critical key 3 points in those first three games there, really, is that Brighton away game. They might sneak something against Burnley away from home. Highly unlikely. They really can't see them doing anything against Liverpool, even though they are at home. So the Brighton game is probably that key fixture in those first three games to see sort of where Southampton's season is at. On to 15th place and on to Burnley. So Burnley have signed Jay Rodriguez from West Brom for 10 million, Eric Peters from Stoke City for 3 million, Joel Senior from Curzon Ashton, undisclosed. I think they're a semi-pro outfit. Ryan Cooney from Bury, undisclosed. Bury going out of business. They've lost Peter Crouch, didn't feature really. Stephen Ward's gone to Stoke for free. And Anders Lingard has gone to Heisenberg for free. So, okay, Burnley are a team that potentially, if they spend a bit of money, could break the top 10. They haven't really spent that much money, so I expect them to still finish in the bottom half of the table. Maybe a slight improvement on 15th. Now, if we look at their opening fixtures, they've got Southampton at home, first game of the season. That's a very winnable game for Burnley. Southampton are sort of in that similar area to Burnley, of course. They've got Arsenal away, which could be a shock result. Highly unlikely, but could be a shock result. Burnley could take something from Arsenal. And then, I'm afraid, they've got Wolves away as well, and Wolverhampton Wanderers are a very, very good outfit. Promoted last season, of course, but they are doing things the right way. So, Burnley there could get 3 or 4 points from their opening three fixtures. Although the Arsenal one is unlikely, it could be a shock. Burnley are a resilient outfit, so let's see how they get on. 14th place last season were Bournemouth. Now, Bournemouth have signed Lloyd Kelly from Bristol City for 13 million, Jack Stacey from Luton Town for 4 million, and Philip Billing from Huddersfield for 15 million pounds. Now, Eddie Howe, I think, is a great manager. I like his philosophy. However, Bournemouth have been batting above their level for so long now that I really think that this could be the season we see them plummet. Now, I don't want to wish ill or badly of them, but I just think that they've been riding the luck for too long. Bournemouth's opening fixtures of the season are against Sheffield United at home. That could be very interesting game to sort of weigh up where the newly promoted team are and where the resting on their laurels Premier League team are. Then, again, Bournemouth facing another promoted team away from home in Aston Villa. I really think Bournemouth are going to struggle in those two features. And then their third game is against Manchester City at home. The only hope that Bournemouth has against Manchester City is the fact that they are at home. Other than that, I really, really do not see Bournemouth taking any points out of their first three fixtures. 13th, and on to Newcastle United. Okay, Newcastle United, what a club. So, they had Rafa Benitez, one of the best managers in the world. I think he asked for some money, and I think Mike Ashley said no. Anyway, what they did was appoint Steve Bruce as the head coach. Since then, they've signed Joe Linton from Hoffenheim for £40 million. So maybe Mike Ashley found his checkbook. Oh wait, no. The next signing is Kyle Scott for free. Jake Turner, undisclosed fee from Bolton Wanderers. Can't have been very much. Bolton Wanderers are literally after pocket change for their players right now. They've let go Azon Perez to Leicester City for 30 million. So there you go. There's 30 million of the Joelinton fee. Joselu has gone to Alves. Nobody knows for how much. What can I say about Newcastle United? Well, they are a largely supported football club. They've got no competition in their own city. They should be bossing it. They have got horrendous management, horrendous chairman, horrendous everything involved with the club apart from the fan base, which is decent. If there weren't worse clubs in the Premier League, these would be nailed on for relegation again. The first game of the season is at home against Arsenal. Who knows what Arsenal will turn up. On paper, Newcastle should get battered. Then they're away to Norwich. If they don't win this game, then their season's already decided. And then they're away to Tottenham Hotspur. They're going to get tonked. So if Newcastle beat Norwich, they get 3 points out of the first 3 fixtures. If they don't, you might as well relegate them now. 12th, and on to Crystal Palace. Crystal Palace managed by Roy Hodgson. They're a decent outfit. I enjoy watching Crystal Palace. They've lost Aaron Wan-Bissaka to Manchester United for 50 million. They've been pretty quiet in the transfer market so far. There's the Wilfried Zaha saga that's still ongoing. Is he going to Everton? Does he go to Arsenal? What's going on? They've signed Jordan Ayew from Swansea for 2.5 million. They have a home game at first against Everton. So that'd be interesting if Zaha leaves for Everton. That'd be a bit of blood there. Then they've got Sheffield United away from home. And then they've got Man United also away from home. Crystal Palace, on paper there, have got 3 quite interesting fixtures. I think they're going to have to take points off Everton. Not the easiest thing in the world to do. Everton are a resilient side. Crystal Palace are also a resilient side, so that one could end up in a draw, shared points. Sheffield United away from home for Crystal Palace, second game of the season. That'll be a big test for the newly promoted side, but it'll also be a big test for a Crystal Palace that could be without Zaha and obviously are going to be without Wan-Bissaka. So let's see how Crystal Palace reshuffle. Then, third game of the season for Crystal Palace, they are away to Manchester United. Now, Manchester United, anyone's guess what sort of team Manchester United will produce next season. Crystal Palace could, I'd like to see it, obviously, as a City fan, could do something interesting on the road at Man United, because Man United are an unsettled team. 11th place, and Watford. Okay, the runners-up in the FA Cup from last season. They've signed Craig Dawson from West Brom for $5.5 million, Bailey Spencer-Adams from Arsenal on a free, and Deli Bashiru from Man City on a free. Now, Watford, okay, what can I say? They're a decent Premier League team now. They've got some decent Premier League players. I think they can score enough goals. I think Watford was a great achievement. I think finishing 11th last season was a great achievement for Watford. Let's see whether they improve this season. I'm not quite sure whether they can break that top 10. I think maybe if they get knocked out of the FA Cup and League Cup early on, then perhaps they can mount a charge for the top 10. But I think one of the best ways that Watford could probably improve their squad in the future is to earn some money from perhaps challenging in a cup competition. So finding that right balance is key for Watford. Let's have a look at their opening fixtures. Okay, so the first game of the season, they're at home to Brighton. I think they'll smash that, 3 points straight away. They're away to Everton, their second game of the season. I think that could be a tough game for both clubs involved. Maybe a 1-1 draw coming out of that one. And then, fighting around their level, they're at home to West Ham for their third game of the season. So that one should be a pretty interesting fixture to determine, because I think West Ham and Watford are anywhere between 10th and 13th in the league. So that one could see where they jostle for position at the end of the season, depending on the outcome of that match. I'm quietly confident that Watford will have a decent season. Depends on what players that they can secure between now and the end of the window. But yeah, Watford, decent team. So here we go, breaking into the top 10 of the Premier League. with West Ham United. Okay, so West Ham, managed by Emmanuel Pellegrini, the gentleman himself. Now, they finished 10th last season. They've signed Sebastian Haller from Eintracht Frankfurt for 45 million. They've signed Pablo Fonales from Villarreal for 24 million. Roberto from Espanyol for free. And David Martin from Millwall for free. Now, they have lost Marko Arnautovic. I think that was causing more trouble than it was worth over the last season. I think they've got a decent squad. They've got an excellent manager. I think 10th is, if you're a West Ham fan, you're hitting 10th. That's a great place to be to build on for this season. They could break further into the top 10 this season, but I actually fancy West Ham to be pretty decent in the Cups as well. Not sure that they'll win it. I think Manchester City are going to do a domestic quadruple again, but I think West Ham could push into the Cups pretty well. I think they gave up on them last season too easily, but I think Manuel Pellegrini is going to have his sights set on some target this season, and I think he's going to do really well. And I think West Ham United are going to benefit greatly from having Manuel Pellegrini as a manager. So, let's have a look at the first 3 fixtures for West Ham for the coming season. Now, the first game for West Ham United is against Manchester City. They're at home, so I've said this before, the only saving grace is the fact that they are at home, even though West Ham fans hate the new ground. This could be a sticky fixture for Manchester City against Manuel Pellegrini and a tidy West Ham outfit, but I just don't see West Ham, no matter how hard they try, coming away with any points from that fixture. The next game is Brighton away. West Ham are going to smash Brighton. Brighton, if you haven't figured it out already, are one of my certs for relegation. Then again, after that, they're against Watford, and they are away again. So, again, for me, Watford, West Ham, Crystal Palace, they're all around that 10 to 12 positioning at the minute. Who gets the points out of these games between Watford and West Ham are really going to determine where they end up at the end of the season, around that mid-table mark. On to 9th and Leicester City under Brendan Rodgers. Okay, so the players that they've got in are Youri Tielemans from Monaco, 40 million. Aizon Perez from Newcastle United, 30 million. James Justin from Luton Town, undisclosed fee. They've got Vontae Daly-Campbell from Arsenal, undisclosed. George Hurst from OH Leuven's. Ali Rigbana from Bohemians. And Mitchell Clark from Aston Villa on a free. Now, they've lost Shinji Ogazaki to Malaga. Danny Simpson, who's been released. There's a lot going on at the minute with Leicester and a few of their players. Harry Maguire, namely, being the key one. Is he going to be a Leicester City player next season, or is he going to go to Manchester United? Nobody knows at this point. They finished 9th last season. Brendan Rodgers, for as much as I hate to admit it, is a decent manager. I think 9th is probably about right for Leicester City. Maybe they can push 1 or 2 places higher, depending on how they get on in the cup competitions, depending on how far they push. That actually might be a thing for Brendan Rodgers to focus on this season, pushing for a cup competition. So you never know with Leicester City. Obviously, they were Premier League champions a few seasons ago, but I think that ship has well and truly sailed. That was a one-and-done deal. So, Leicester City's first 3 fixtures of the season, they've got Wolverhampton Wanderers at home. Now, these teams, as far as I'm concerned, are probably around the same level. Leicester City may be slightly better than Wolves because of the players that they've got. I'm not too sure. Could be a 1 point each affair. Then Leicester have got Chelsea away from home. That could be an incredibly interesting game because Chelsea under Frank Lampard, without having to sign any players, and Chelsea, as far as I'm concerned, don't really have an out-and-out striker, and they haven't got Cahill cover or anything like that. They're having to rely on their squad this season at Chelsea, so that could be interesting. Then it's a big test for the newly promoted team, Sheffield United, with Leicester visiting them for their 3rd game of the opener of the season. So Leicester, I think around the 10th position, like I said, is about right for them. Maybe pushing up slightly further up the league. Now, on to Everton. Everton Football Club, who finished 8th last season in the Premier League. They've signed Andre Gomez from Barcelona for £22 million, Fabian Delph from Manchester City for £8.5 million, and Jonas Lossell from Huddersfield Town on a free. Now, Everton are that team that for, I don't know, every single season ever, I've said, this year Everton are going to do something special. This year Everton are going to do something special. It's not happened yet. 8th is decent, but Everton are a fantastic football club. They need to be pushing higher up the league. Now, if they get Zaha, if that ever happens, £52 million bid has already been thrown at Crystal Palace. Not quite gone down yet, so maybe they get Zaha, maybe they don't, no idea. Everton really need this season to be pushing, and actually do me a favour, because I sound like an idiot every single year when I say Everton's going to push this year, Everton's going to push this year. Please, Everton, higher up the table than 8th this season. Right, so their opening fixtures are Crystal Palace away, which I said could be a tinged fixture if Zaha goes or doesn't go to Everton. I think it'll be an interesting fixture because Everton really should be managing to beat Crystal Palace, even though Crystal Palace are a neat and tidy outfit. Then after that, Everton have got another challenge, this time at home against Watford. Now, Watford again are a decent mid-table team, but come on, Everton, you're better than a mid-table team, surely. Right, and finally, their third game for the opening fixtures is Aston Villa away. Okay, come on, Aston Villa, newly promoted club, surely Everton, show us your steel, show us what you're worth, show us that you can push that top 6 position, beat Aston Villa, come on now. Wolves, and 7th in the Premier League last season, the club that's here to stay, they must say. Okay, Raul Jimenez, £30 million from Benfica, Patrick Catone, AC Milan, £16 million. Leonardo Dendokler, don't laugh, Anderlecht, £12 million. I tell you what, these guys are spending money like they actually want to be in the Premier League. They've even got Jesus Valero from Real Madrid on loan. And I tell you what, Wolverhampton Wanderers, how unfortunate they were that Sheikh Mansour didn't point his little finger towards that area of the world, because what a team, Nuno, what a manager. I reckon 7th, right, and this is going to come back to bite me probably, 7th is probably where they'll finish the season again. However, what an achievement for what a club. Now let's have a look at their opening fixtures, all right? Wolverhampton Wanderers for the Premier League. They are facing a top 10 contender for their first game, Leicester City away. Then they've got Manchester United at home. Come on. Wolves, come on. You're at home against Manchester United. Ole's at the wheel. Absolutely batter them, please. And Burnley, your third game at home. I tell you what, there could be 6 points in this for Wolves, flying out the gates at the start of the Premier League season. Wolves is their third game. Burnley are going to have to try their absolutely hardest to get a point out of that game, but I see it going one way, and that is a Wolves win. So 2 home games in their first 3 fixtures. Man United and Burnley, both very winnable fixtures for Wolves. So here we go, we've reached the top 6, and at 6th place last season, their finish was Manchester United. Ole is well and truly at the wheel. So they've signed Aaron Wan-Bissaka from Crystal Palace for $50 million, and Daniel James so far from Swansea City for $15 million. Now, they've had a complete shuffle at Man United. They've got rid of Ander Herrera, Antonio Valencia. They've got rid of James Wilson. I thought he was going to be the next White Pele. Romelu Lukaku is probably off to Italy. They've made failed bids for Harry Maguire. What a team they are. What an absolute team. Their infrastructure is fantastic. They've got a leaky ground. Get the buckets out. So let's have a look at their season opener. Okay. Chelsea first at home for Manchester United. I actually think that this is a winnable fixture for Manchester United, and I actually think that it will bring some false hope to the Old Trafford faithful. because Chelsea are a completely unknown entity right now with Frankie Lampard as manager and no new signings available for them. Second game of the season for Manchester United is Wolves away. Now, I said in the Wolves little part there, I think Wolves can absolutely batter Man United and humiliate them in only their second game of the season. Third game of the season is another tricky fixture for Manchester United. I don't want to be optimistic or wear blue-tinted glasses, but Manchester United face Crystal Palace at home. A tricky potential fixture for them, but I see them just about edging this one. So I actually see Man United probably getting around 4 points from their opening 3 games. Ole is at the wheel. Where do I think they'll end up? Well, you'll just have to look at my league table after this roundup. Fifth last season were Arsenal. Okay, Arsenal. So they've signed Gabriel Martinelli from Ituano, undisclosed fee. Dani Ceballos from Real Madrid on loan. William Saliba, Saint Etienne, £27 million. They've also been linked with another player whose name escapes me right now. They've sold David Ospina to Napoli for £3.1 million. Aaron Ramsey has gone to Juventus on a free. Absolutely crazy, that one. Petr Cech's retired. Danny Welbeck has been released. Have they finished paying off the ground or something? Okay, so quite a few players gone out there and only a couple come in so far from Arsenal. Lauren Koscielny refused to travel on the pre-season tour of the United States. They put a £72 million bid in for Pepe. They finished 5th last season. Are these really signs of a club that are growing and are going to push for that top 4 place? I mean, they were unlucky in a way to lose the Europa League final, I guess. But come on, Arsenal. You're a big club. What are these signings? So, anyway, let's get on to the first 3 fixtures of the season. First game away for Arsenal is Newcastle. Whatever Arsenal turns up, I mean, they should beat Newcastle, but whatever Arsenal turns up. Then they're at home to Burnley. I think Burnley are going to frustrate the hell out of Arsenal, but Arsenal are going to pull some magic off out of somewhere. They've got some great strikers at the club. I guess their season is all about their strikers, really, Lacazette and Aubameyang, because, God love them, they ain't got much else going on. They've got no midfield, really, no defence, no goalkeeper anymore, really. Leno, I mean, into your chat show host, I don't know. Then it's Liverpool versus Arsenal for their third game of the season. Arsenal really could be coming out of all 3 of these first 3 games with no points. I mean, Newcastle away, Arsenal are at home to Burnley second game, and then Liverpool away. Liverpool are absolutely going to destroy Arsenal. It's not looking good for Arsenal this coming season, in my opinion. I mean, they finished 5th last season, but that's because everyone else was bloody awful. Are they even going to be top 6 this coming season? I don't even know. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen, the top 4 of the Premier League. And last season's 4th place team, Tottenham Hotspur. Okay, so, Tottenham Hotspur. Is this their year? No. Anyway, they've signed Ndombele from Lyon for £53.8 million, Jack Clark from Leeds for £8.5 million, and Keon Etete from Notts County for £200,000. Now, let's get this straight. They've improved the squads quite slightly. However, they've sold Kieran Trippier to Atletico Madrid for £20 million. They've let Vincent Janssen go to Monterrey for £6.3 million. Michel Vorm's been released. Tottenham, Mauricio Pochettino, great club. Great club, great ground. But when are they going to learn that they need to spend a bit more money, get a bit more depth in the squad, to really have a sustained go at winning the Premier League title? It is so within their reach, it's unbelievable, but again this year, probably not. Let's have a look at their opening 3 fixtures anyway. So, first game of the season, they are at home to Aston Villa. Aston Villa are the newly promoted team, but I still think Tottenham will absolutely pancake them. Second game of the season for Tottenham is a Manchester City away. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear. Tottenham Hotspurshire. You come into the big boys. You come into the champions. Listen, revenge, as it said in English, is what we want from the Champions League last season. Not necessarily your fault. VAR had its say, although VAR is in the Premier League this season, so we shall see. I expect you to get battered by Manchester City. Anyway, Newcastle, third game of the season. I expect you to destroy Newcastle United. You're at home. Smash them. Third place last season went to Chelsea. Now, Chelsea have ditched the smoking Sarri and appointed Super Frankie Lampard as their new boss. So, technically they can sign players, technically can't sign players. And either way, they've ended up with Mateo Kovacic from Real Madrid for 40 million. Now, here's the crazy part of the whole deal. The players out is longer than my arm. So, Eden Hazard, Real Madrid, 88 million. Alvaro Morata has gone to Atletico Madrid, 58 million. Alana Ania, Torino, 8.9 million. Gary Cahill's retired or released. Oh, it's just not looking great for Chelsea this season. But have faith, you pensioners out there, because Chelsea are a decent team. All of those kids that they signed when they shouldn't have signed are actually all decent players. I think they've still got a decent squad. They've got players like Kante and all the rest of that in there. So, Chelsea, I still think they'll be around the top 4 or 5 teams in the Premier League. Looking at their opening day fixtures, they start with a tasty one, which is away to Manchester United. That should be an exciting prospect. I hope that Chelsea take points off United there. I don't know, though. Who knows? It's one of those games. Then, their second game in the Premier League is against Leicester at home. I think they'll take the points from that game as well. It could be a close-ish affair, though. Maybe a 1-0 or a 2-1 win to Chelsea. Not quite sure. And their third game of the season is away to Norwich. Norwich, for me, are going to get battered by Chelsea. Welcome to the Premier League. You've not spent wisely. So, yeah, I think Chelsea will do all right this season. I think that Frankie Lampard is a decent guy. Jory's still out until he's had a season in the Premier League on whether he makes a decent manager or not, but good luck to him. Okay, here we go. We're getting into the meat of it now, ladies and gentlemen. Let's move on to the People's Club, the net spend champions of the world, Liverpool Football Club. Okay, so Jurgen Klopp says they're poor, they've got no money, the Coutinho and Suarez money has all run out. They've only signed 2 players so far, Sepp van der Berg from PEC Zwolle for 1.3 million, and they have stolen Harvey Elliott from Fulham for an undisclosed fee. They're so poor that they've had to get rid of Danny Ings for 20 million to Southampton. Moreno has gone to Villarreal for free. Goodness knows what is going on with the net spend people's champions. Okay, so let's have a look at Liverpool's opening fixtures for the coming season. They've got Norwich at home first, a game that they should absolutely cricket score, win 10-0. Come on, Norwich, what were you thinking? Then they've got Southampton as their second fixture in the Premier League, away from home. Southampton, or as I like to call it, the Liverpool B team. I think Liverpool will walk away again with 3 points from that one. No surprises there, I don't think. And then the interesting fixture in their 3 opening games. Don't forget that Liverpool also play in the Super Cup against Chelsea, but we don't count that because European Carabao Cup winners versus other European Carabao Cup winners is not an enticing fixture. So then Liverpool play Arsenal at home, third game of the Premier League season. That one should be a tasty affair. I do expect Liverpool to win it. In fact, I expect Liverpool to get 9 from 9 points-wise for the first 3 games of the season. Liverpool have been so fortunate with injuries over last season. I don't wish injuries upon them. But maybe this season somebody's going to get a knock. Maybe the Egyptian Jamie Vardy will get a knock. I don't know. Great team, really. It can't really hold it against them for the fact that they don't spend any money and all of their players are all from the Liverpool Academy. I think they'll be there or thereabouts again. They'll push Manchester City to the title again, I think. But I doubt they'll win it. And last but not least, the reigning Premier League back-to-back champions. Can they make it 3 in a row? Manchester City, ladies and gentlemen. No surprises here, but I am predicting Manchester City to finish first again in the Premier League. Oh, what a wonderful feeling. Okay, so let's have a look at Manchester City's opening fixtures of the season. First, we're away to West Ham United. Then we've got Tottenham Hotspur at home. Then we've got Bournemouth away. So, West Ham United, interesting club, tough challenge. I still think we'll take the 3 points. Tottenham at home, we're going to batter them. It's all about VAR, baby. Then Bournemouth away. Bournemouth, what were you thinking? You're still here, but only just. We're going to take 9 points from the first 3 fixtures of the season. We're going to start as we mean to go on. This is, again, the 3rd Premier League trophy season for Manchester City in a row. Anyway, let's have a look at some of Manchester City's business dealings in the transfer window. Of course, we signed Rodri from Atletico Madrid for 62.8 million. We got our kid Angelino back from PSV Eindhoven for 5.3 million. What a shrewd bit of business. Fabian Delph has left the club. Vincent Kompany is obviously retired from playing for Manchester City. What a captain, what a leader. Will we find that in our club again this season? Hopefully. The key to this season for me is in a team full of Galacticos, which we have. Kevin De Bruyne stays fit and shows us why he has got such a high FIFA rating. So, now that I've stalled for all that time, what you're really here for is to clearly see my Premier League table for the 2019-2020 season. And I won't disappoint. Here it comes. And there it is, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure that there are some shocks in there. Some a little bit and ahhing. Well, let's go through it, shall we? Okay, so I've said from the outset, Norwich not spent enough money, not enough ambition to be a Premier League team. They've come up, yes, they were promoted as champions, yes, but I don't believe they've got enough in the bank to secure a Premier League spot for the season after this. Brighton and Hove Albion, I think you have rid your luck for far too long. Getting rid of Chris Hughton was the worst mistake in my opinion. Decent bloke, decent manager, what were you thinking? And yes, there it is, the shock perhaps to some, Newcastle United in the 18th spot, the last of the relegation spots. Well, let's be honest, it's Newcastle United. They have become a joke of a club. They have appointed Steve Bruce after not showing enough ambition. With Rafa Benitez, they don't sign players, and when they do, they spend 40 million, 50 million on question marks. I just don't think that they've got it in them to be a Premier League club until that there is a radical overhaul of the club from top to bottom. So there it is. My bottom 3 relegation candidates are Newcastle United, Brighton and Hove Albion, and Norwich. Okay, so just avoiding relegation there in 17th place is the Blades. Sean Beam will be a happy man. 17th place to Sheffield United. In 16th, Bournemouth, only still in the Premier League really because there are worse teams than them. I think that if some of these championship clubs get their act together, invest properly when they get promoted, Bournemouth could be saying bye-bye to the Premier League. I like Eddie Howe. I like some of the players at Bournemouth, but I just don't think the club as a whole has got the ambition there to keep it up for many more seasons. In 15th place, as again, the best of the rest, Southampton, they had to finish somewhere. 15th is about right for Southampton, in my opinion. Aston Villa, the highest up of the climbers from the championship promoted teams, in my opinion. Big club, big expectations, well spent money over the summer, in my opinion. Big fan base, they deserve 14th. It'll give them a great place to build on for the next season. Burnley in 13th, a little bit of a dip from the season before. Sean Dyche, he rides his luck a little bit, but he's got a battle-hardened team there of some good players, some journeymen in the Premier League. I'm not being disrespectful when I say that. Burnley, if you really want to go on that next step, invest in your club. You've got loyal fans. Show them why they turn up every week. 12th place, Roy Hodgson keeping a understrength small Crystal Palace in contention, keeping them far enough out of the danger. See, my 10th, 11th and 12th, you can all interchange them a little bit, really. I only went in that order simply because Watford put on a hell of a show to get to the FA Cup final last season, and I think that they deserve that 11th spot. West Ham in 10th because Manuel Pellegrini is the manager. That guy and his status, for me, earns you 1 or 2 places, so that's my mid sort of table reasoning right there. In 9th place, Brendan Rodgers in his first season as Leicester manager. He's got some decent players there. I don't know what his budget is, obviously, with what's happened at Leicester City. I don't know how far the new owners are going to continue that ethos that they've got going on. Good luck to them, but I think 9th place is about right. This one was the hardest one. 8th for Everton. I so wish that Everton give me enough encouragement to put them up to 5th or 6th in the table, but Everton, as usual, will probably let us all down, so I'm sticking to 8th for Everton. In 7th place, Manchester United. Yes, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is at the wheel, but for how long? If United want to get into the top 4, here's what you do. Sell Paul Pogba. You can keep Solskjaer, he's probably an alright guy. Sell Paul Pogba, you'll get into the top 4, Man United. But while that guy's still at your club, 7th is what you're getting. Ole's at the wheel, probably sacked by Christmas. In 6th place, Nuno has secured a place in my heart with Wolverhampton Wanderers. 6th place there, edging into the Europa League places. Could be tricky for the season after for Wolves, but I think that guy has got it in him to push for 6th place. 5th place, again in the last of the Europa League spots, Arsenal. I just don't think you're spending any money right as a club. Are you still really playing off the Emirates? I don't know. Invest properly in your club. Get a recognisable defence that we've heard the names of. Bring people up through your academy. Stop letting world-class quality players go on freeze. What are you thinking of, Arsenal? I think just because of your attacking line, you'll still get that 5th spot. But oh my goodness, you are by the skin of your teeth in the top 5. Chelsea, transitional season really for Chelsea. 4th place, I think, is about right for them there. Frankie Lampard, big test, big season coming up for him, but I think he's got an experienced enough squad as long as he can keep those idiots in check, because don't forget they've got some absolute idiots in that Chelsea squad. Keep them in check, Frankie Lampard, earn the respect, and I think 4th place is yours nailed on. Tottenham, again, will probably have this thing where they'll get to Christmas and they'll all be excited and they'll think that it's all coming at once and they'll be doing well in the Champions League and they'll be within 10 points of whoever's in first place, and they'll think, this could be our year, this could be our year. Then they'll realise they've got no squad, then they'll fall off, and then they'll just about scrape home to a 3rd position. Liverpool, again, this is the season of VAR, as they might say. Liverpool, how many free kicks, offside goals, and all the rest of it are you going to get once VAR's implemented? I have no idea, because the people running VAR may be bent for all I know. You might win the league by 50 points because you get so many fortuitous decisions. Who knows? I don't think so, however. 2nd place for you. Probably a close run until about March, and then Manchester City will just break away. And again, as you can see, ladies and gentlemen, my champions for the 2019-2020 season are, once again, Manchester City. What else can be said? We've got Bernardo Silva, we've got Raheem Sterling, we've still got Leroy Sané, we've got Emerick Laporte, we've got Edison, we've got John Stones, we've got Kyle Walker, we might have Mendy, who knows? Oh, and we've also got the Ginger Prince, Kevin De Bruyne in midfield, plus the future world best player, Phil Foden. I mean, is there a player in that City team that you'd replace? Apart from I'd had Harry Maguire, but that's just my 2 cents on it. What a team. Worthy champions every time we've won it, and I think for the 3rd time in a row. We might also add, this season, you never know, the European Carabao Cup to our trophy cabinet. Who knows? Premier League first and foremost for me, and that's that. So, what do you guys think? Who's got it right? Has a supercomputer got it right? Has Andy got it right? Has KIAM got it right? Have I got it right? Let us know in the comments section below this video. As always, this is Man City Fan TV and it is for the fans, so we would greatly appreciate if you guys let us know who you thought your top 20 in the Premier League was, who's getting relegated if you only want to put that, who's going to become champions, is it going to be City, Liverpool, Tottenham, Chelsea, or is it going to be an outside bet, is it going to be Man United? Nobody's going to expect that curveball, but please let us know in the comments. And as always, If you like the videos that we produce, if you like the content that we produce, please like and subscribe. Please hit that notification bell because it'll give you the inside track on our latest and greatest videos. And thank you very much, as always, for watching.